Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather and today we're going to be doing, I have finally read this and I have thoughts video, and we're starting on, or we're going to be doing the Bridgerton series. I have read The Duke and I, well, I read The Duke and I. And I ended up giving this 3 stars because there's a specific scene in this book and I did not like it whatsoever, where Daphne, I believe her name, yeah, Daphne, and Simon were having an intimate scene, and Daphne pretty much SA'd Simon. He didn't, like, there were some things that he didn't want to do in the relationship pertaining kids and all that kind of stuff, and Daphne wanted it. So there was a scene in there where I did not like that whatsoever, and that put me off of their relationship. But there are others in the series that I have heard that I will really like, and I'm hoping that the people that said that are telling the truth, because if it's anything like this book, I don't know if I'll like it. But I also want to watch the series, and I want to read all the books before I watch the series. So we'll be reading the books, and then I'll be watching the series, and I'll be giving a review on the series as well, because I believe that there is a new season that's supposed to be coming out very soon. So again, 3 stars was this book. Already read that. Then we have book 1, or book 2, book 3, book 4. My library has the last 4 books, so I'm just going to be getting those from my library. And I also have all the audiobooks on Scribed, so I'm going to be listening to the audiobooks as well. And yeah, that's what we're doing in this video. Hopefully you will enjoy it. And yep, we're just going to go ahead and get started. After my dumb self checked out the 2nd book instead of the 6th book, I ended up getting the last 4 Bridgerton books. So I have all of them, and now I just gotta read them all. I got to chapter 1 of this last night, and then I decided that I was too tired to read or comprehend anything that was happening. So far, the humor in here has been really nice. Like that. Maybe I got to chapter 2. Let me look. I might have gotten farther than that. I don't really remember all that much, and I'm tired today. I got to chapter 3. I like the humor in this book so far. What's her name? Kate. I like Kate, and we know that Anthony is a rake. So it's the season for the people to find all of their matches and all that kind of stuff. So Kate is a part of that. She's also one of those not so pretty girls or whatever that we find in historical romances. But so far, so good. I am enjoying the overall humor in here. It's one thing that I can say about Julia Quinn is that her books have a lot of humor in them, and I like that aspect of them. They also, like, it is historical and all that kind of stuff, but it's really easy to read as well. So it's one thing I really like about Julia Quinn. Here to talk to you about this book, because I am at the 50% mark to it, or of it, whatever. I'm at the 50% mark, and it's pretty enjoyable so far. Of course, if you've ever seen any of my videos where I talk about historical romance, one of the things that I don't like about historical romances is how misogynistic some parts of the books are, just by talking about how delicate women are and how society views women, about virtue and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of roll my eyes at those parts, but overall this book has been pretty funny, and I really like Kate. I like that she's not your typical regal woman, and I like that she has her own mind and she doesn't really follow rules of society all that much. besides the scene that we just saw with her and Benedict and a bee. His name's not Benedict. His name is Anthony. With her and Antony and a bee, but that, like, there was a significance behind that part. There's a significance behind it. So somebody saw them in a way that they should not have been, since Kate has to keep her virtue and Antony was doing something to her near her boobs, and somebody saw it. So now, of course, they have to get married. So because of that. But anyways, it's been really funny. There was a specific scene with Antony's siblings that I really liked when they had to play when they were playing Pall Mall, and Kate like destroyed. Kate just took the game over, and I enjoyed it so much that I'm actually ordering a Pall Mall set for my family, and we're going to teach our oldest child how to play. My husband and I haven't played Pall Mall in years. So I'm going to order that, and when I get it in, of course, I'll show you all the little fun things we can do with that. But that scene was really, really funny to me, and you get to see Daphne and Simon in here too. And I really like how the Bridgerton family is so close, especially all the siblings, and I really like the mom, and just all of the above. I'm enjoying it so far, just besides the little parts that they talk about, you know, how women in society need to act a certain way and men can do whatever they want. But yeah, I'm liking Kate, and I'm liking Antony's whole relationship. They are, these birds are fighting outside my window right now, but they are kind of like hate to love in a way. She doesn't like him. He's supposed to marry, or he's supposed to be trying to like court her sister Edwina, but for some reason he is attracted to Kate, which I don't see why he wouldn't be. But there are parts in the book where he's talking about how Kate isn't as attractive as Edwina, and how Kate isn't your conventional pretty and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, stop it. Stop. But Kate is her own person, and she will tell you exactly what she thinks, and I love that about her. And I think she's going to bring Antony down a notch. But Antony does have a lot of responsibility too, because he is the head of the household. So he's like, this is the season for him to get married. He needs to get married and start having a family and everything like that. So he's looking for a wife, and Edwina was the one that he was going to pick. But now him and Kate are in for the long run, and we'll see how it goes at the last half of this book. It's pretty funny. And I still love, this is one part of the book that I really love, like the Lady Whistledown's, what are these things called? Journal entries, newspaper entries, whatever. I really like that those are still involved, and that there's just like I really like that they're still, you know, in the book, and that there's just a lot of gossip in town and stuff like that. Keeps the drama going. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with this. Just wanted to fill you in and let you know that I'm going to continue listening to it. Today is Friday, and when I finish it, I'll let you know. Some of the print of this book is a little wonky to me. Yeah, it's a little off. Anyways, whatever. That is just an observation that I have, but I'm going to keep listening, and yeah, fill you in when I'm done. So I'm at the part where they're at their wedding night, and I hate, okay, so one thing that I cannot stand in my romances is, like, consent is really important, right? And they're having this conversation where Kate is like, hey, can I try to get ready for this? Because, you know, her virtue and everything. And Anthony goes, it is my right as your husband. No, it's not. No, it's not. that mindset gets on my nerves. That mindset totally gets on my nerves. But again, the times I have to remind myself this is a historical romance, but still, no, it's not your right as a husband. Gets on my nerves. Anyways, I'm going to continue to listen.
Chapter 19. Lady Marchham's annual ball was a crash as always, but society watchers could not fail to note that Lord and Lady Bridgerton did not make an appearance. Lady Marcham insists that they had promised to attend.
Hello, here to update you because I finished the Viscount Who Loved Me, and I'm gonna give this 3.5 stars. So I wasn't the biggest fan of Anthony at first because I thought he was a jerk. I mean, he still is pretty much a jerk. There's a difference between being grumpy and just being a complete douchebag, and Anthony falls onto the douchebag category. I think Kate was way too good for him, but by the end he did redeem himself a little bit, just a little bit, and he like proved to Kate that he loved her and didn't just want to be with her for her body and all that kind of stuff. But there was just some language in here, like I said earlier, like the previous clip, about having the rights because she's his wife of her body at all times whenever he wants it, which I don't like that mindset whatsoever. I know that it's back in the day and all that kind of stuff, but I still don't like that mindset because when we get to this book, it's a little bit different. Anthony, he is the head of the household. He does have a lot on him. He lost his father when he was very young, so he automatically assumes that he's going to die super young, which is why he doesn't really, he's not looking for love. He's just looking for a wife to be able to procreate, basically. But by the end of it, he really did turn into like a, I'm not gonna say good guy, but he grew on me a little bit. Not that I would ever want to be with him by any means, because he's a, like I said, he's a jerk. But I can understand where he's coming from in some ways, which is why I didn't give it a total 3, because it was going to be like a 2.5 before the last third of the book happened, and then I bumped it up to a 3.5 because by the end of it, like I said, he did redeem himself. I liked the epilogue too because Kate really did grow into herself, and like the second epilogue that's in here, Kate really did grow into herself, and it was to the point where they were actually getting to joke around with each other, which they didn't before. He took everything very seriously, but you could tell that she really opened him up. And yeah, so 3.5, better than the first one. I can't say that. Now, I'm almost halfway through this one. I'll go ahead and fill you in on this one because this is going a lot better. I like Benedict a lot better than I like Anthony. I also really like Sophie. This is a Cinderella retelling, if you can't tell by the shoe. But Cinderella retelling, she goes to live with her father. She is considered a bastard. She goes to live with her father. Her father ends up dying, and then she's stuck with her stepmother and her 2 children, or her 2 daughters. And she ends up going to a ball, meeting Benedict. At the very beginning, they have a moment, even though he doesn't know who she is. She knows who he is, but he doesn't know her because she's wearing a mask, and she ends up running away. And 2 years later, they end up meeting again under unfortunate circumstances, and Benedict saves her from a situation that was happening and then offers her a job as a maid. But in this story, I'm really enjoying Benedict just because of his humor, and he's also one of those guys that, like, if he sees a woman being hurt, he's going to step up and he's going to do something about it, just like he did with her. And he is also very, like, a dry sense of humor, which I really like. Sophie, she's been through a lot in her lifetime. She had to grow up very quickly because of how her stepmother treated her and what she had to do after living with her stepmother. She's just been a maid, but you know, she had to live on her own for a long time, and she just had to grow up and see the world in a different light than a lot of people at her age. So I'm enjoying their chemistry right now. Benedict is sick at the moment, and there's just been a lot of cute moments in here where there's some sexual tension as well, but Benedict and her trying not to do that because she's supposed to be working for Benedict or his mother at some point. But they're at this place called My Cottage, and that's the name of it. And I just thought that was funny. But the humor that Julia Quinn writes is in this book as well. I'm just liking Benedict a lot more than I liked Antony. And Daphne, actually. So, yeah. Hopefully it keeps going the way it's going, because I'm enjoying it. And I think if it keeps going the way it's going, Benedict might be my favorite so far. But yeah, we're at the cottage, and Sophie just saw Benedict naked in a lake. And that's where I left off last night before I went to sleep. But I'll fill you in. Hello, it is morning time, and I want to let you know I finished this book yesterday. I'm giving it 4 stars. So far this one has been my favorite of all of the Bridgerton series that I've read. This is only, what, the 4th book that I've read? This is the 3rd. This is the 4th. Anyways, Benedict and Sophie are my favorite couple so far. I enjoy them. I enjoyed them a lot, and I enjoyed their banter. I enjoyed their dynamic. I liked how their meet cute was, even though it was very insta-lovey. They're still pretty young. And the only thing that I didn't like about this was that Sophie took forever to tell Benedict who she actually was. Y'all hear that? It's very thundery outside. But it took her a while to tell him who she was, even though she had plenty of opportunity to. So I felt like she dragged that out way too far. And when he found out, he had a very reasonable reaction to it, and he was understanding of his reaction, but she was just like, I didn't want to ruin anything that we have and all that kind of stuff. Girl, if you would have told him, he wouldn't have cared, because he did not care that she was of a lower class than him. He just loved her for who she was. And I really like that about him. I also like that he didn't take crap off of anybody. Oh, I said that really weird. Off of anyone. And instead of being the typical, like, I'm going to turn my head because it's none of my business person, he was in it, and he saved her from a situation, and I thought that was very noble of him. There was also a really cute scene in here where he was sick and she had to take care of him, which I liked. And it was a lot better than the other ones. The writing in here has gotten a lot better too. There's still a lot of humor in it, but I can tell that the writing is getting better and better as we go. So 4 stars. So far, Benedict and Sophie are my fave. I've heard that this book, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, is like everyone's favorite because of Penelope. And I liked Penelope in this one so far. I also liked Posey in this one too. Posey was Sophie's stepsister. Of course there's a wicked stepmom in here and everything too, but you get to see Penelope a little bit in here, and a scene that was in this book is explained more in this book, so I liked that aspect too. So far I'm only on chapter 1, but Penelope is in love with Colin, and Colin is the 4th child of, the 4th child of the Bridgerton kids to find love. So this is his story, and I've also heard that people like, they just like love this so much. And I was flipping through here because I'm listening to it on audio. And let me show you this. I noticed there were like breaks. I don't know if you can see it, like breaks in the pages. But the printing of this left pages stuck together. It gets on my nerves because I've already ripped one trying to get them apart. It gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. Like, I know it's just like a small thing, but we pay enough for books as it is. You would think that the printing would be better. Anyways, I'm gonna read this. I liked the prologue. Basically, Penelope is in love with Colin. Colin does not want to marry Penelope. They're younger. Yeah. But I'm gonna read this today. I have the day to myself. Yep. I'm gonna enjoy. And obviously thunderstorms are happening today too. Weather in Alabama in springtime. So while I finish my protein smoothie that you saw me make right here, I'm gonna watch a little bit of full coverage, and then I'm gonna get dressed, and then I'm gonna go pick up some medicine for my baby, and then I'm probably gonna go to Starbucks, and then I'm gonna come back here and work on my office and listen to this as well. Just wanted to fill you in.
It was away, it was fabulous. I had a great evening, movie set up, roses on the bed, and it was my boyfriend's birthday at the time. Oh. And we got into it, and
to promote spark and conversation. And finally, she could eat again. It was maddening, considering the amount of food generally on display at Tom parties. But women on the hunt for husbands weren't supposed to.
So, wanted to fill you in and let you know that I am 50% into romancing Mr. Bridgerton. And so far, it's okay. Is it my favorite? No. I have found it quite boring, but now that we're like halfway through it, it's becoming a little bit more entertaining. Oh, good God. There was this one scene where Colin is asking Penelope's mother to marry her, you know, and Penelope's mom doesn't care for Penelope because Penelope is a spinster. She's older. She hasn't gotten a man yet. She, you know, whatever. And she has a younger sister named Felicity. Is her name Felicity? I think so. I think it's Felicity. Yeah, Felicity. And she is like, "Are you sure you want to marry Penelope?" And Colin's like, "Yes, I want to marry Penelope." And her mother's like, "Are you really sure that you want to marry Penelope?" And he's like, "Yes, I would like to marry Penelope." And then she's like, "Are you really sure?" And he's like, "Good Lord, woman, yes, I want to marry your daughter. I want to marry Penelope." And he was explaining like why Felicity would be a really bad choice for him. And he's like, "Because she is an infant. And it would be like marrying one of his younger sisters. Hyacinth, or however you say his like youngest sister's name." And Penelope goes, "And the incest." And I freaking lost it when she said that. Because, okay, here, I'll read it to you. Let me find it first. This box. I'm opening it, so hold on. And then I'll go back to that. So, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I ordered, it said Pall Mall, you know, like the cigarettes, but I ordered a Pall Mall, or croquet, however you want to say it, set, and it's in this box right here, because Chris is my husband, focus on me, thank you. Chris and I are going to teach our oldest son, Charles, how to play Pall Mall or Cricket. So I was gonna just open that while I was sitting here. But he says, I've never given any indication I'm the least bit interested in Felicity. And Felicity's in the door, blah, blah, blah. And she, yes, but Felicity is unmarried, so are you. I know, but I'm old. And he says, and Felicity is an infant. Good God, marrying her would be like marrying his younger sister. And Penelope goes, except the incest. And when she said that, I freaking lost it. I started laughing. And that's one thing that like I really appreciate about Julia Quinn's books is the humor in them. I think the humor overall in this book has been on point, but it's just been kind of boring so far. Like, Penelope has always been interested in Colin, and then Colin hasn't been interested in her, but now all of a sudden he notices her, and he like notices how pretty she is, and he wants to be with her, and then they kiss, and it's just like a revelation of, oh my God, everything I've ever wanted in a woman. So it's kind of like that, and I'm just like, dude, she's been around for forever, and you're just now noticing her? What is wrong with you? It's one thing about these books, is the men in these books, especially the Bridgerton brothers, drive me insane. They all have attitude issues. They all are like condescending in a way, and they just, like, they finally see the woman, and they're just like, oh my God, I want you, and then they're like, come marry me. And Penelope's like, what? Wait, moving too fast. Yes, we kissed, but like, oh, okay, you know? And it just drives me insane. It's one thing about these books that is driving me crazy. Crazy, you know? They just like, it's like snail pace, and boom, 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 they're getting married. And I'm like, good Lord, have mercy. But yeah, so I wanted to fill you in on that and show you the Pall Mall set, and of course it's taped. And I don't want to rip the box because we got to put it back in the box, you know. So ordered, and when we finally set it up in the yard, I'll let you know, and you'll see us play. We're probably going to be awful at it. I haven't played cricket and croquet, however you pronounce it, since I was like 8. I don't even know how to play. I just know you hit the ball. I finished romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and I'm giving it 3 stars. I look like I am alpha. I finished this, giving it 3 stars. I was really bored all the way up until about 75% mark of this book. I don't know why I was so bored. It was just, I don't know. Penelope deserves a lot better. I didn't like Colin at all. Colin was a douche the entire time, and he just got on my nerves, especially when he was just jealous of Penelope for all of her accomplishments, and instead of being happy for all of her accomplishments, he was just being a jackass about everything. And I really don't want to spoil it for anybody if you haven't read this, but Penelope is a very important character to the Bridgerton series. And when Colin finds out what she does, he is just, he's a complete jerk about it. Like, Penelope tries to explain to him why she did what she did, and he's just like, no, it'll ruin you if people find out. You don't need to do it. But in the back of his brain, and he says this like subconsciously, he says this multiple times, that he's just jealous of her. Like, he just has a lot of jealousy for her because he's never accomplished anything in his life besides being a Bridgerton. But then she's very an accomplished person, and he's jealous of that. And then 75% into this book, she really helps him get past that issue that he has. But it's really just his own issue, and he just lit it out all on Penelope, and Penelope deserves so much better. The reason I did not give it lower than 3 stars is because the last 25% of this book I really did like, and I thought was really sweet. They came together as a couple, and they just like helped each other. Speak, Heather. Good Lord. They just helped each other out with what they wanted to do, and they really like were supportive of each other and all that. It just took Colin a while to get over his insecurities that he had. And I get it, but you don't have to be a douchebag to people just because you're insecure and push it on to somebody that you consider or that you love, you know? I don't know. Penelope just deserves better than Colin, and yeah. I did like Eloise's and Penelope's relationship in this book. They really, like, it really shined in this book, and I like to see them together. I hope that in the next one you get to see a lot of Penelope in this one too, like a lot of Eloise's and Penelope's relationship. But overall, this wasn't my favorite. It wasn't bad. It just took a little bit to get to, and like I said, Colin was just, he's a douche. I don't see the appeal of Colin. Why is Colin like people's favorites? I like Benedict. Benedict and Sophie are still my favorite couple. Hopefully, I'll see some, I'll like this couple, Sir Philip and Eloise. Hopefully I like them. I like Eloise's character, and I don't think that she would let somebody run over her like Penelope did a little bit. And also, okay, let's go back to this. Here's some more of my gripes. So I felt sorry for Penelope with the way that her mom treated her, because she's 28 and she's still not married, so she's considered a spinster. I don't see anything wrong with that, but you know, back in the old days, it was a bad thing if you weren't married by like 21 and had kids. Whatever. Penelope did have a backbone, but she really loved Colin to the point where she didn't want to say anything to like upset him or anything like that. And that was another thing that I had a gripe about this. And he knew that. He knew going into this that she had insecurities about that because of her mother. And he just bet on that. So, okay, that's the end of my gripe. 3 stars for this. Maybe I'll bump it down to 2.5. What do you think I should do? Let me know in the comments. Who is backing up in my driveway right now? Oh, did you get lost? People get lost up and down my road all the time. But maybe I'll bump it down to 2.5. But I really want it to be a 3 because I liked Penelope so much. I don't know. I'll decide. Anyways, 2.5, 3 stars, whatever. Whatever I decide for that. Maybe it's 2.75. I've drank too much caffeine today. Alright, so the next book is To Sir Philip with Love. This is Eloise's story. I'm hoping that Eloise keeps her brashness, and I hope that she just like stays true to herself in this book. I did see in that other book that Eloise was kind of like going off on her own, and she had like ink on her fingers and all that kind of stuff. So she was writing, I believe, to him in the previous book, and she's keeping it secret because Eloise is like that. But I like her. I like her a lot. I like her spunkiness. So hopefully she'll be spunky. And it says that Sir Philip is supposed to be, he is moody, ill-mannered, and handsome. He's a large brute of a man. He's rough and rugged, unlike anything that she's ever known in London society before. So that's my kind of dude right there. I like him grumpy, I like him rugged, and I like him all, you know, I like that. So hopefully we'll get a better hero. So I'm here to update you and let you know I'm halfway through To Sir Philip with Love, and I am actually really enjoying this one. So Eloise has written to Sir Philip, and after his wife dies, that's when Eloise sends a letter to him for condolences, because Eloise, or his wife Marion, is it Marion? His wife was Eloise's like cousin down the line a little bit. So Sir Philip and her create this relationship through letters, and then Sir Philip actually proposes to Eloise and is like, hey, why don't you like come stay with me for a little bit and see how everything is, and then marry me? And Eloise is like, okay. So she comes and they form this relationship. She ends up meeting his kids. She doesn't realize that he has kids because he failed to mention that fact. And when she finds out that he has kids, she wasn't prepared to take on like a stepmother role. But it's Eloise and she has a lot of siblings, you know. So she tries to get on the kids' level and the kids don't like her. So they start playing pranks on her. Eloise plays pranks back to the kids and all this stuff. But then Eloise ends up getting hurt for one of the pranks for the kids. And that's when, like, that's how she forms a really good bond with them. But the scene that we just had at the at the very middle of this book was so freaking funny to me, because Eloise just like took off and left. She didn't tell her family where she was going. Her mother doesn't know where she is, and her brothers end up finding out where she is. So all four of them come and like try to save her from the situation, and they end up manhandling Philip. And Philip, he's a pretty big dude, but they end up manhandling him. And I thought that scene was just so funny, because Eloise is like trying to get Anthony off of this dude and trying to get Benedict off of this dude, and she ends up fighting them off of him. And it was chaotic, like complete chaos, and it was funny. It was hilarious to me. I thought that I laughed when I was listening to it. I was just I was laughing. But this book is a much better time than all the other books to me. I really like Eloise as a character. She's very strong spirited. She tells Philip how she thinks. She tells Philip what he needs to hear even if he doesn't want to hear it. And she takes that for herself. And I really like that aspect of Eloise. And Philip, he's got a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of guilt because he doesn't really know his kids all that well. And he wants to have a relationship with them. He really loves them, but he just doesn't know how to interact with them, especially after their mother passed away. And you can tell that they were really close with their mom. And when they do stuff, like I said, he doesn't know how to discipline them. The first thought that he goes to is to whoop them, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants to get to know his kids. And there's a scene in here where he finds out that his kids can do something, and he didn't realize that he knew that they could, and he got really, really upset, and he felt really guilty about it. And Eloise just talked to him and helped him through that situation, so I like that aspect of their relationship too. But he's just got a lot of guilt going on, because his late wife was actually his older brother's fiance, but he had to marry her. Because, you know, historical romances are weird like that. But that's how they became. And then they ended up having kids, and then she did really something. Now the prologue, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, trigger warning for suicide in here and self-harm, because there was a scene in here and it was very graphic, and it was just, I wasn't expecting it going into this book. I knew that he was a widow, but I did not know that the prologue of this book was going to go in so much depth to how he became a widow. So trigger warning for that, because it's at the very, very beginning of this book, and it just rolls right on into it. So, but yeah, Eloise and him, I think they're gonna get along pretty good. He is a botanist as well, so that's very interesting to me. And yeah. So I'm gonna finish reading this hopefully today. Oh, my friend and I are going to we have this really cute place here called Lanier House. It's called Lanier House, and they do like high tea parties where you fill out this form, you tell them how many people are coming, dietary needs, all that kind of stuff. And they surprise you with the menu that you're getting, so you don't actually know what you're going to get when you get there. But everybody that I've spoken to about it, and the reviews are incredible on it. So my friend Nicole and I are going to go and have a little high tea. So when I am there, I'll take some clips and stuff like that. But I want to let you know that we are going to have a high tea later. But for right now, I'm going to eat out of this big old bowl because it's leftovers, and why not? It's good. But yes, I am one of those people that will eat out of the biggest bowl. This is our leftover bowl. I'm going to eat it, and then I'm going to watch some YouTube, or, you know, I might just take a nap. We'll see. I'm really tired. So that's the update. But yeah, eating, watching, possibly reading later. Cool. Do all of the men in this series have to be so insufferable? Good God, they just got into an argument because Eloise doesn't like the way, take this headphone out, doesn't like the way the governess is treating the children. So she goes to try to talk to Philip about it, and he immediately tries to kiss her and whatever. And she's trying to like talk to him about it and say that there's something wrong with that, because the way that the kids were acting when the governess said that she had to get on to them, she didn't like the way that they were like, she didn't like the look on their faces. Coming from like a mama, I can completely understand that. You know exactly when your kids, like there's something wrong with your kids, especially when they're around somebody that you don't know all that well, you know? And she's just trying to talk to him about it, and he gets mad at her because she doesn't want to be intimate in that situation. Like, what the, oh my gosh, why do these men have to be so insufferable like this sometimes? Like, I was liking Philip, and then he did this crap just because he hasn't been intimate in 8 years, and he's like, this is our marriage is about intimacy, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's about intimacy, but good God, you got 2 kids. You need to be worried about your kids too. And she's doing the right thing and trying to bring it to his attention rather than just doing something and like getting rid of the governess or whatever. But then he's sitting there doing that. See, I was really enjoying this book, and I'm still enjoying it, you know. And I know that just like in real life, all marriages are going to have their spats and stuff like that. But when it comes to like your own children, and then he says something about the only reason he married her was because, like, so she could be the mother to his kids or whatever. I'm like, you idiot. That was stupid. That was really dumb. So I hope he has to grovel back. And she just doesn't, like, take him back. Well, you know. I hope she doesn't let him get away with it like other women in this series have done. But I should stop and say that, like, what is his problem? I know what his problem is, but like, come on, man, come on. Julie Quinn, why? Why? Anyways, wanted to stop and tell you that I'm irritated at Philip. Jerk. I finished this and I'm giving it 3.75 stars. Philip almost redeemed himself all the way for me. If he would have redeemed himself all the way, then I would have given this book 4 stars. But I didn't, like, I liked the banter between them and I liked their overall romance for almost 100%. But Philip going into this book, and we know it, him going into this book, he is looking for a wife so his kids can have a mother. And that's really his like prime reason for wanting to marry again, is so his kids can have a mother. And Eloise coming into this not even knowing that he had kids, I thought was pretty crappy of him, because he should have said that, even though she came in and she took on the mother role and she took on the stepmom role, and it was kind of rocky at first, but then she really showed the kids that she was there for the long haul and she wasn't going to go anywhere. So that helped that out a lot. But he kept saying that he hasn't had a lover in 8 years, which, okay, whatever. And the reason why he was acting the way he was is because he finally was able to, you know, be free of that. And he constantly was telling, like, he was constantly trying to, instead of talking, before he talked, like before they got intimate, he was talking, right? He talked to her about his feelings, and he talked to her about all this stuff. And then right when they got intimate, he stopped talking to her. He stopped all communications with her, and he used sex as like a deterrent for talking, because he didn't like to talk about his feelings. And that irritated me, because I liked him all the way up until that fight that I told you about. And then he realized that she was right, and she didn't, like, he apologized, but he didn't really apologize. Like, he didn't say sorry, and he didn't grovel the way that I wanted him to. She forgave him way too easily. Just saying. She forgave him way too easily for that. And for her to be such a spunky character when she was just like, yeah, whatever, you know, sorry. And I was just like, what? He said all those things to you, and you're not going to make him, like, crawl back to you because he did, whatever. Anyways, that irritated me. That's why I didn't give it a 4 star. I know that I'm going to get some hate for that, because a lot of people love Philip. I love Eloise. Like, I was rooting for Eloise the entire way. And then the actual epilogue, like the second epilogue or whatever that are in all these books, we get to read from Amanda's point of view, and Amanda is Philip's daughter, and Oliver is Philip's son. They're twins, but so we get to hear from her point of view, and she is just like Eloise. And I don't know if we're gonna get the kids from the Bridgerton series, but I really liked her character, and I was like, I want to read more about her. She is awesome. I love all of the spunky women in the Bridgerton series. That is one thing. The men, they're lacking in a lot of ways. Although Colin in this book was a lot more fun than he was in his own book. And I liked his character in this book a lot more than I liked it in his own book. And I'm like, why couldn't we get that in his book? In his book, he was just a pretentious butthole. And then, yeah, I don't know. I liked him better in this book. I liked all of the brothers. Benedict, he's still my favorite, okay? Benedict is still my favorite. Sorry. That's not everybody's opinion, but Benedict is still my favorite. And in this book, he was Benedict. Like, he hadn't changed. He's still Benedict. He's still doing it. And then, but we do get a lot of talk with Anthony too. We get this really sweet scene with Anthony and Eloise in this book, and I appreciated Anthony a lot more than I did in the past. I can say that, because in his book, didn't like him either. But in this book, you can tell why he is the way that he is, because he really did have to take on like the fatherly role after their father died, because he's the oldest, and I appreciated him a lot more in this book than I have in the previous books. So there are some redeeming qualities in this book, but I'm still irritated. So here's my ranking so far of the 5 books that I have read. Okay, Benedict's book is still on top. An Offer from a Gentleman, I gave 4 stars. This I gave 3.75 stars. I gave The Viscount Who Loved Me 3.5 stars. Duke and I 3 stars, and then I did change my rating to a 2.5 star for Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. Just saying. I changed it to 2.5 because I had too many complaints for it to be a 3 star. It needed to be bumped down half a star. Okay, so this is my rating so far of all of the books. I know I'm going to get some heat for it, but it's okay. It's alright. If you don't like my opinion, that's fine. We can have differing opinions. But now we're going into Francesca's book, and I hear Francesca's book is very emotional because of the content in here. So I'm a little over halfway through When He Was Wicked, and I am really enjoying this to the point where I think this might be like a super high rating if it keeps going the way that it is, because it's one of those books that it has humor in it, but it's really a lot about grief too. Francesca lost her husband at a really young age, and Michael is her husband's cousin. So they already had a friendship, and they were already really close. They already had a lot of good banter going on, and now they're catching feelings for each other. So about 4 years after John has passed away, Francesca is looking for a husband because she wants to have a child, and there is something about a miscarriage in here as well at the very beginning, and Francesca, she just wants to be a mom. So she goes out, and it's the season for people to find their, find a match for them. So she goes back to London, and she wants to find a husband. So when Michael realizes that, he is quick to try to catch her attention in a romantic way. She's kind of standoffish at first. Well, I'm not going to say kinda, but they both are very standoffish towards each other because they don't want to disrespect John in any way. They both really loved him, and they just don't want to cross that line, but their family knows that they have feelings for each other. But Francesca and Michael don't want to do that because, like I said, they don't want to cross that line and disrespect John in any way. But Francesca's family is pushing for it. Michael's mom is pushing for it. And they just have like this pull to each other, and they're really attracted to each other, but they just, it's to the point where it's getting like, just do it because you know that you want to be with each other. You know that you want to, but it's not annoying in that fact. I completely understand why they don't want to, because Francesca was so in love with John, and Michael loved his cousin too, and they both just love John so much, and they have so much grief right now, even 4 years after his death. But they just, this couple, it's one of these couples that I haven't read it in a long time, and I just want them to be together, and their story has been so beautiful so far, and it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those books that I'm really enjoying. For some reason, I like emotional romances right now, and this is an emotional romance, and I feel for both of them so much, and I just want the best for both of them, Francesca, I really like her character, and Michael, he is just one of those guys that wants the best for her, wants the best for everybody around him, but he doesn't really think of himself, and he has this persona that he is just a rake, and that's all he's good for. And everybody thinks of him that way, even Francesca does, because that's all that he is like presented to her. But now that she's seen his like deep self, she's like, how could I have missed that all this time, you know? So yeah, I'm really enjoying this book, really enjoying it more than a lot of the other books that I've read so far. I have this much to read. I'm listening to it on audio, so I'm flying through it. But yeah, just wanted to fill you in and let you know that I'm loving this one a lot. Hello, updating you. I finished this book. I gave it 5 stars. I loved this book so much. It was emotional. I loved Michael. I loved Francesca. I loved their relationship. I loved how they were friends before they became intimate with each other. I loved that pull that they had to each other, but then they pulled away from each other because they didn't want to disrespect John in any way. Even though John passed, they still had that love for him, and they grappled with each other. They talked to each other about their feelings, and you know, communication is key to me in a relationship, especially in romance books. I just really loved this book, and you also saw the support that Francesca has from her family, and I love that we continue to get that throughout the series. I also got to see Colin in this book too, and I know I said that about the other book as well, with Eloise, but Colin in the other books, I like him, but in his book, I did not like him. But in this book, he was really good. And he just has, like, I guess he's just a douche, but he has, like, you can tell that he loves his siblings, and he's very protective of them, and Michael understands that because Michael has known him for a long time. And there's this one scene where Colin's just like, are you gonna marry her or not? And Michael's like, oh okay. And because everyone knows that Michael has feelings for Francesca, and Francesca does have feelings for Michael, but like I said, she's hesitant because she does not want to disrespect her late husband, and I get that. But Michael and her had such a good relationship. They had good banter, they cared for each other, they already had that relationship where they knew each other really well, and it was just getting them together. And usually when it takes a while for a couple to get together and I know that they need to be together, it irritates me. But in this one, there was just something about the writing that I did not care at all, and when they finally got together, it was just emotional. And I got emotional a lot in this book, and I love that in my romances, when I can get that emotion and I can just feel it in the pages, and I felt it in this book. That's why I gave it 5 stars. I love, like, this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. Francesca and Michael beat out Sophie and Benedict, and I didn't think that that was going to happen. And you also see Sophie in here too. Sophie and Francesca are very good friends, and I like their friendship a lot. But yeah, I liked it. I like the seriousness and the tone of this book a lot better than some of the other books in the series. Julia Quinn can write very good serious scenes where she can show a lot of emotion. Some of her other scenes, when she's just trying to be silly and stuff like that, kind of get on my nerves a little bit. I do like her humor, but when a book is like super serious like this, she can write. She can write, and y'all, I just loved it. I loved him. Like, I loved Michael. I loved Francesca. I loved them together. Yes, yes, yes. I did start on this one, In His Kiss, or it's In His Kiss. This is Hyacinth, however you say her name, and Garth. Oh my god, these names are gonna kill me. I'm this far ahead, like this far in, so I'm not that far. I'm only 110 pages in, chapter 7, but I can already tell that I don't know if this is gonna be a very high rated book for me, because like I said, it is not as serious as the previous 2 books that I read, or the previous book that I read, because this is book 7. Oh, yeah, the other 2 books that I read. So I can already tell that it's not gonna have like the super whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. My brain's not working, but I'm in this book. I
I don't know yet. I don't know how.
Garth is a jerk. What he just did to Hyacinth, whatever. What he just did to her when they kissed finally, and his response to her, ugh. And now she's all worried about like if she's good enough and all that kind of stuff. Get out of here. Camera stand, y'all. My son has broken it and it just like all over the place. I'm gonna let you know I'm halfway through. It's in his kiss and I'm still not liking our hero in this because he is very pretentious and I don't know, the way that he treats Hyacinth, how do you say her name? Hyacinth, the way he treats her, I'm just not liking. And she is very outspoken and she takes up for herself, but she also just like, he treats her like crap, okay? In my opinion, he treats her like crap and I don't like it. I know that he has a lot of stuff going on with his dad. I understand that, but there is a point in it where you just got to get over yourself. And if you want to be with somebody, be with them for the right reasons. And I don't think he's with her for the right reasons. He is very attracted to her and he knows that she is still virtuous, since you know that's a big thing for a lot of people back in the day. She still has her virtue and she's still very, like I said, she's still very young and she's kind of naive in a way. And I think he's taking advantage of that because he's 28 years old and I believe that she's around 22. I think that's how old she is. Either way, she's still young. And he just asked Anthony for her hand in marriage, and Anthony's like, yeah, that's great, sure. You're not the first one to ask, but just know going into the marriage that if she's not happy, you're not going to be happy either. So she's not going to bow down to you, and she's not going to she's just not that type of person. But in a way, I think she kind of is. You can tell that she doesn't have a lot of experience in the romance, the romance area. And I just feel like, I don't know, I just get it that he is taking advantage of her. And then I accidentally read a review earlier because I was like trying to see if my thoughts and other people's thoughts matched. I accidentally read a review earlier about something that happens in like later on in the book, and I'm like, if this happens the way that I perceive that person's thoughts in that review and the way that they said it, this is gonna be a very low rated book, I tell you that right now. Hopefully it gets better. They have found his grandmother's journal and she was Italian, and like her grandmother on his dad's side. So they found her journal and it's Italian, and that's why the Gareth and Hyacinth, however you say her name, that's why they are like not together, but while they're working together, because she is actually translating the journal for him, and they are going on this like adventure to try to find these jewels and stuff like that. So there's that little plot thing in there, but I don't know. He just gives me the ick. Finished this right here. I'm giving it 2 stars. Like I said before, I did not ship these two together whatsoever. I did not like Gareth or Garth or however you say his name. Did not like him. I liked Hyacinth, that name. I liked her. I liked getting to actually meet her, get to know her a little bit better, because in the other books you really don't. But overall, did not like their relationship. Thought Garth, whatever, was just using her in a lot of ways, and he was. And his intentions going into the relationship and into the marriage were not genuine at first. He ended up loving her, but I don't know. Some of them was just, I didn't like him. I didn't like him at all. So 2 stars, not really much to go off of this book. We'll say this past weekend was Mother's Day, and we ended up playing croquet, Pow Mow. We ended up playing that.
What are you doing?
Ah.
I was putting everything together.
You gotta hit it hard.
Don't hit Lila.
A single point.
Woo!
Hey, you gotta leave it where it's sitting so you can hit it. You hit it through there, so go.
And then I started reading On the Way to the Wedding. This is Gregory's story, and we don't really know much about Gregory. I saw Gregory in Eloise's story, and I liked him. I thought that he was funny. So he's trying to find a woman, and he ends up meeting this woman named Hermione and her friend Lucy, and he is infatuated by Hermione just like every other man in this town is infatuated by Hermione. But Hermione loves another man, so she's always trying to pawn her friend Lucy off on people, but Lucy is also betrothed to someone else. So Gregory and Lucy meet. They have a cute little banter, meet cute thing going on, and they honestly, they clicked right away. They just don't know it yet, and Lucy is not interested because, like I said, she is betrothed to someone else, but Gregory is like, oh my god, Hermione is so beautiful just like everybody else, and Lucy is just like she loves somebody else, sorry to let you know, but she just does, while they're eating egg sandwiches together at Gregory's brother's party. And it was just funny. I enjoy the humor in this so far. I'm only on chapter 3, I believe, before I went to sleep last night, but overall I like the tone of this a lot better than some of the other ones. I am halfway through On the Way to the Wedding right now, and I'm a little over halfway, but I am actually really enjoying this, and he's very close with his mother, which I like. I liked getting to see Violet in all of the series because she's very, very close with all of her kids, but you can tell that she has a really soft spot for Gregory, especially because he's the baby boy, you know. But I also really like Lucy too. Lucy is finally realizing that her life isn't as planned out as she thought it was, because she's finally meeting her betrothed. We're at the point where Gregory, she like left Gregory's house because something happened with her best friend Hermione, and she left, so they haven't seen each other for a while, but Gregory sees her in a park, so he goes and speaks to her, and he realizes she is about to get married to this dude. And Gregory has taken a while to realize that he has feelings for Lucy. He thought that he had feelings for Hermione, but he realized no, he has feelings for Lucy. And then when he realizes that she gets married, or she's getting married, he freaks out. And that's at the part that I'm at right now. In the prologue of the story, he's running somewhere, and I'm assuming it's to the chapel where they're going to be getting married, or where Lucy and this dude are going to be married. And if this is a wedding crash story, oh my god, I love wedding crash stories. Okay, they're some of my favorite ones, where people are like, no, don't marry that person because I love you. Oh my god, I just love that stuff. Anyways, that's where I'm at with this book. I am liking Gregory and Lucy, even though they're younger. I like their dynamic. I like that Lucy is just straight to the point, tells you how it is. She's still a little bit eloquent about it, but I like that aspect about her. And I like Gregory too. He's just very down to earth. He's kind of introverted a little bit. He's still naive in a way, and I enjoy that about him, because all the other men in his family are just kind of asshole-ish, you know, douches. And he doesn't really have that. So he doesn't have that feeling about him, or that personality in that way. So I'm liking him, and I'm liking Lucy. Lucy's a very dedicated friend as well, and I appreciate that too. So yeah, that's my update. And when I finish, or if something happens before, I'll let you know. But I think that this is going to be pretty highly rated. I don't know if it's going to be a 5, but it's going to be highly rated though, if it keeps going the way it's going. And if what happens, if what I think is gonna happen happens, yeah, okay, yeah. So I finished this, and I'm giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed both Gregory, and I really enjoyed Lucy as well, which I enjoyed Hermione too, because her character, like her her character in general was just really sweet, down to earth. She just wasn't interested in the people like around her. She was just really like into this one dude, but then something happened. Anyways, let's talk about Lucy and Gregory. So Gregory and Lucy, they were just so freaking cute. I really enjoyed them both as characters and individuals. Lucy's a really good friend. She's very loyal. Gregory just wants somebody to love him, and he was really into Hermione, but then he realized that he had a lot of love for Lucy, and what he did just to get Lucy to be with him was so sweet. And he did exactly what I wanted him to do at the wedding as well. And he just professed his love to her in such a way that I was just like, it's so cute. It's so cute. The only thing that really got on my nerves was how much they said that they loved each other. They said that they loved each other very, very quickly. And you can tell that they're very young and they're very naive. And that was the only thing that kind of got on my nerves a little bit, because it was like every other page, multiple times on a page, Gregory was like, I love you so much. I just love you. I just love you. I just love you. And Lucy was like, I love you so much too. And they just kept telling each other that. I'm like, okay, I get it. Show me that you love each other. Stop saying it and show me. And that was one of the things that got to me a little bit, because it wasn't a lot of showing. It was just a lot of telling each other that they did there at the end for a little bit, for just a little bit. That kind of got on my nerves, and I was just like, okay, I'm getting bored, and it's just whatever, just hurry it up. But then the epilogue got me, like the epilogue got me a little bit. And then the second, like, because you know all these have an epilogue, plus they also have like a second epilogue. What happened to Lucy in the second epilogue was really scary. It got me kind of emotional, so I enjoyed this a lot. Gregory and Lucy are up there. Michael is still top tier, and then Benedict and Sophie are still up there too. But Gregory and Lucy are in the top 3, okay? So let me tell you this. Let me show you my stack of books that I got. So here is my ranking of the Bridgerton series, okay? We have When He Was Wicked is at the very top. That's Michael and Francesca's. Michael is still like the best of the best of the best. Then we have An Offer from a Gentleman, that's Benedict and Sophie's. And then we have Gregory and Lucy. Those are my top picks. And then the fourth one is To Sir Philip with Love. Then we have The Viscount Who Loved Me, The Duke and I, Romance in Mr. Bridgerton, and Sorry Not Sorry, but In His Kiss. It's the very last one. Whatever. Y'all know my thoughts on this. So all together, I ranked the Bridgerton series 3.46 stars. So almost, I usually say, yes, I'm gonna bump that up to a 3.5, but I'm not doing it this time because there's 8 books, okay? It didn't reach a 3.5 by itself, but it's a 3.46. Not bad for an entire series, especially with 8 books, but I only had 1 5-star. So I had a 5-star, 4-star, 4-star, 3.75, 3.5, 3, 2.5, and a 2. Didn't have a 1-star, because I typically do not give out 1 stars unless I just absolutely hate the book. I didn't absolutely hate this, it just got on my nerves, okay? So, all in all, 3.46 for the entire Bridgerton series. I am excited to watch the series together. Oh my god, this is heavy. I am excited to watch the series. I'm not going to do it in this video because it's just way too long. I might do a comparison video where I watch the series and then compare it to the book. If you want to see that, let me know. But I have to give these books back to the library because 4 of them are not mine. Am I going to go out and buy the entire series? I might go out and buy my favorite ones, because When He Was Wicked is really good. Then All the Way to the Wedding is not mine. To Sir Philip is not mine. And then the last... and then In His Kiss is not mine either. So I might go out and buy these 2 because I liked these 2. I typically don't buy books that I don't, or keep books that I don't like. So I'll be buying the books that I like in that series. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below if you did. if you agree or disagree with any of my rankings, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, just let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.